Okay, I have a hot take, and I know no one is gonna like this hot take, but I have a hot take. Has Lala Kent matured? Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope everyone had a great week and weekend. Now, this is the Bravo Investigator Podcast, and I'm your host, Dana, just in case you're new here. Now, we have changed up the template of things a little bit, but don't even worry about it. It's like small potatoes. You won't even notice. I am going to tell you what topics we are talking about today. This is still the reality roundup. But first, I'm just going to go over a few housekeeping items. Then we'll go over what we're going to talk about, and then we will get right into it. So, first of all, this show is every Monday and Saturday, and then sporadically at other times as well. But every Monday, you can expect to see me on Hurrdat Entertainment's YouTube channel. So, that's like today. And on days like today, you can hear me talk about basically everything that's going on in the reality TV space in the news sphere. So, we're talking about what's going on in Bravo, we're talking about Love is Blind, we're talking about Teen Mom, whatever news is going on in those spaces, that's what we talk about. And then on Saturday, I am doing mini recaps of your favorite Bravo shows. Right now, I'm doing The Real Housewives of OC and The Real Housewives of Miami. Now, The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, I believe, is coming back this week as well. So I will for sure be covering that. I think I may be doing it as a separate episode during the week. And if they end up doing an after show, I'll probably be covering that as well. I'm really, really excited about that one. So you'll at least be getting 2 to 3 episodes every week for me, but definitely Monday and Saturday. Now, all of my episodes, except for my Monday ones, are audio only. That is just because I just don't like putting on makeup for this. It causes me a lot of stress. Don't ask, or do ask. We can talk about it in the DMs. That's another thing. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and now also follow me on Threads at the Bravo Investigator because I'm trying to get into some of the other platforms. I can't just focus on Instagram. So I'm trying to thread. I'm just, asking questions through Threads. It's been fun. I've been enjoying threading. And by the way, I don't know what's wrong with me today. My mouth is super dry. So please don't leave me 1-star reviews saying that I have like cotton mouth. Like I know. So I'm going to do my best to talk slowly and I'll try to drink water so I can get through this. And maybe I'll just also make it a shorter episode, even though I always say that and I never do. But maybe I will just because I'm having trouble speaking clearly. So please do not leave me bad reviews for that. But you can leave me a good review. I wouldn't mind that. Leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. You can also leave reviews on Spotify, and you can also subscribe on Spotify and Apple as well, so that all the new shows are just right there for you. So that's what's going on with the schedule going forward. And I also wanted to remind you guys about the Patreon if you are able to join. It is patreon.com/the Bravo Investigator Podcast. Join on a browser as opposed to like an app because it'll charge you like incremental fees. So join like on your computer or a browser, something like that. So basically what you'll get is for $5, 4 extra podcast episodes a month. You will get all the regular episodes on the main feed ad free and you will get them early, plus a lot of bonus content. Right now I'm doing The Real Housewives of London, which is just out on Hayu right now. So that's pretty cool because it's sort of like a housewife show that not everyone has access to, but you can have access to it. It's hayu.com. So definitely check it out. But we're having fun on the Patreon chatting about it. And then I just started a new $10 tier on the Patreon, which will get you everything that you get under the $5 tier, but it'll also get you one documentary recap/review a month, and it'll get you a shout out on the pod. Hey, Sam. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys are aware of that. I'm going to be covering AKA Charlie because as you know, I'm so invested in like Denise Richards. I did the Be True Hollywood story on her. So to have a whole extra documentary on Charlie Sheen, I'm like, yeah, I have to nab that up. Denise Richards is in it as well. So I'll be covering that on the Patreon next with my friend Yana Firestone. She's also a Bravo enthusiast and a therapist. So I think she'll have a really interesting take on it. I'm really excited for that. And I'll be releasing that on the Patreon later this month. So I'm excited about that one. And last month I did Fit for TV, the reality of The Biggest Loser. So that was about the show The Biggest Loser. And there was the Netflix documentary on that. So, I figured why not bring my love of documentaries to you guys as well? And those are all the housekeeping items I think that I have. Okay, now I'm just going to give you guys a really quick synopsis into the topics that we're going to be talking about today. So first, we're going to be starting with the Real Housewives of OC. We're going to be talking about Jen Pedranti, basically updates to her custody, her Watch What Happens Live appearance, and Tamra's response basically to her Watch What Happens Live appearance via Instagram. Then we're going to be talking about the Valley. We're going to be talking about Sheena Shay and her podcast appearances and the cryptic statements that she's been making, as well as responses to that from Lala Kent, as well as Katie Maloney, as well as season 3, The Valley filming sightings. Then we're going to be getting into the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Denise and her ex Aaron and their updates in their divorce because there is a weekly update. Then we're going to get into Southern Charm in the regard that Craig Conover is starting a production company. So we're going to talk about what that means. Then we're going to get into the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City in that Mary Cosby's son is in trouble with the law again. So we'll talk about that. Real Housewives of New Jersey. Teresa Giudice has been doing some press. We'll talk about next season and what she's been saying about that. And then RHONY, there have been some next season casting rumors. We'll talk about who those are. And then we'll get into a little Teen Mom update with Janelle Evans and who she's dating. All right, so let's get into it. So we'll start with the Real Housewives of OC. So there are some updates to Jen Pedranti's custody. I remember before she was dealing with issues with her ex-husband Will because he wasn't paying child support, which just didn't make sense to me because it was like, how is this man not paying child support? It's illegal not to pay child support. I don't understand how it's been going on for this long. So I'm just going to read you guys this Us Weekly article that I found about it. Give me a second. So it says, Real Housewives of OC, Jen Pedranti awarded sole physical custody of 3 kids in divorce battle with ex-husband. And sorry, guys, I apologize that I'm reading on my phone today. I create like this whole outline and guideline, and then I tried to send it to my computer, and my phone was not allowing that. I tried a million times. I ended up wasting like half an hour doing this, and I'm like, I only have so much time to record. So I will be looking down a bit today. My apologies. I will fix it for next time. So here's the article. It says, the Real Housewives of Orange County star Jen Pedranti was awarded sole physical custody of her 3 minor children in her divorce battle with ex-husband William Pedranti. On Wednesday, September 3rd, Jennifer, 48, and William informed the court of a change to their custody arrangement. They had previously agreed to share joint physical and legal custody in their 2024 divorce settlement. The new filing revealed Jennifer will have their 3 minor children, Grayson, 15, Everly, 13, and Dominic, 11, full-time. William will now only have visitation of the 3. The exes also have 2 older sons, Dawson, 18, and Harrison, 21, but they are not included because they are not minors. Per the agreement, William will provide Jennifer a 1-hour notice before any proposed visit with the kids. Back in July 2024, Jennifer and William reached a settlement in their bitter divorce battle. They agreed to share joint legal and physical custody of their 4 minor children, Dawson, Grayson, Everly, and Dominic. Per the deal, the kids were to live with Jennifer. William was ordered to pay $4,674 per month in child support and another $1,735 per month in spousal support. Jennifer, who is engaged to Ryan Boyajian, will no longer receive spousal support once she remarries. That makes sense. The deal also calls for William to pay a one-time lump sum of $267,811 and for Jennifer to keep all interest in her yoga business. A couple of months after the deal was executed, William went back to court asking that he no longer be on the hook for spousal support. In his declaration, William told the court, Jennifer lives with Ryan and I believe has little to no living expenses, rent, utility, car payments, etc., due to this living arrangement. He also asked for his child support to be reduced because he claimed their son Dawson was living with him full-time. In his filing, William claimed Jennifer harassed him by showing up at his home uninvited and sending him messages outside the court-approved app to talk to each other. Okay, I remember that, but like he was refusing to speak to her. Jennifer denied she was harassing her ex. She said that she was simply trying to talk to him about their kids. She wrote, I believe it is unfair to terminate spousal support because I am cohabitating with Ryan. The only reason I am cohabitating with Ryan is because William left me with no other option. Jennifer also accused William of failing to pay her the 6-figure lump sum he agreed to in the divorce settlement. She said that if she had received the money, I would have had the ability to pay my lease and I would not have been evicted, or I would have had the means to secure my own place without Ryan. It would not be equitable for the court to consider my cohabitation with Ryan as a basis to end my support when William's bad conduct forced me to do so. She asked the court not to modify the spousal support payments. No order was entered on the support request before the custody stipulation was entered this week. Jennifer and William walked down the aisle on September 21st, 2002. In court documents, they listed the date of separation as January 3rd, 2021. Jennifer became a full-time cast member of The Real Housewives in season 17 in 2023, and William filed for divorce weeks before their first episode premiered. So that's what's going on with that. I guess that's sort of relevant to like last week's episode where Tamra's like, oh, it made me uncomfortable when, you had started flirting with Ryan and Ryan said that you were going to leave Will for him. So I guess, I'm happy for her that she has full custody if that's what she wants. I know she's been battling him for a long time, especially when it comes to money. So good for her in that regard, if that's what she wants. Of course, that's what she wants. What am I talking about? Of course, mom doesn't want full custody. So anyway, she was on Watch What Happens Live this week, and she didn't do a great job because, Andy's asking her about like, how are you this close with Gretchen when like you've seen her now on TV say like a couple of times that she went to the hospital and say that she misspoke? Like, what's the deal with that? She didn't really have a good explanation. She was just sort of like, well, like we had to have like conversations. And, she didn't really explain where that went or what happened with that. Like, obviously, I guess their friendship is fine. I don't really know. But Tamra has been like all up in the comments lately. So any of like the clips that were posted about Watch What Happens Live, she commented on. So these are some of her online comments. She said, I have always followed Katie at Bravo Andy, and I was the only cast member that would film with her coming up. The cast actually gets mad at me for filming with her. Stop acting like I'm the problem, Jen, and get a storyline other than talking about me. Why don't you address the book that was written by the bookie Matt? It's an eye-opener for all of your lies. Recalibrate. Okay, I guess the guy that was arrested for the whole like, oh my God, the whole thing that Ryan was involved in last year with the guy in Vegas and the bookie thing. I guess he wrote a book. Okay. Tamara made another comment. By the way, Jen, I'm going to therapy to deal with trauma I've had in my life. It's not so I can be kinder to you when all you do is lie. I apologize if I'm right or wrong because that's what this show is about, conflict and resolution. Move on, lady, or get off Vicky's show. Oh my gosh. And then Jen wrote back to that saying, of course she claps back. She has a mirror. She should go look at it. And I'm not her problem. And we do agree on something. Bring back at Vicky Gunvalson to the show. XOXO. And then she puts in quotes, tits on a stick. Oops. The quote unquote heavy girl. I mean, Jen. Here's my question. I'm sure that all of these people have like public relations people and managers. And I cannot imagine that the advice that they are getting is to comment back to everything. Because I want to say this about Scheana as well when we get into the Valley, which we will in a minute, but it's like, it can't, for one, be good for your mental health to be getting in the mix with all of the like bloggers, quote unquote, and to be just like commenting on everything online. You haven't filmed the reunion yet. That is your opportunity for conflict and resolution. So I do agree with Tamra in that regard, like in terms of like letting things go and conflict and resolution, but like just the constant like little bits of seeing them online, like commenting here and there, or like when you see them go on like a rampage with it, where it's like a whole page of comments, I'm like, oh God, someone's crashing out. It's just, anyways, let's get into the Valley because I want to talk about that specifically because, ever since Scheana, well, no, it's something I've been noticing for a while. I guess ever since season 11 was up in the air or season 12 of Vanderpump Rules was up in the air, I guess I started noticing that anytime a comment was made about Scheana in the zeitgeist, she would comment about it on her podcast, or she would find a way to comment about it on her podcast. Like she might even pretend it's like a fan question, like fans are asking about it. Like, oh, let me read the fan questions. Fans want to know if you're in a fight with Lala, right? Like she just wants to bring it up. And obviously, I've noticed over time that she's been the kind of person where she needs a lot of attention in a friendship, right? We've heard what's her name? What's her name? We've heard Stassi talk about that. In reunions, she's like, okay, like you need like someone to like hold your hand and call you back and text you back. That's what you need, right? I remember back when she had like the tooth surgery, she got in a fight with Stassi about that because Stassi didn't check on her. I think Jax was the only person that checked on her. And it was a really big deal to her that no one had checked on her. And then in season 8, she was mad at the boys that she was quote unquote close with at the time, Brett and Max, or pretty much everyone who didn't follow up with her about her egg retrieval surgery. And I remember, like, I very rarely like to give Lisa Vanderpump any props, obviously, but I remember there's this quote that I remember her saying, like, you cannot expect that. Or how does she say it? You cannot expect that kind of care from a man that isn't your husband. And you also cannot expect that kind of care from a man that is your husband, right? So to expect these random guys to be like checking on you after your surgery, it's a lot. And then I've started to notice that when it comes to her book, or ever since she's released her book. So obviously we had her make those comments about Lala recently, where she had read off a fan question about like whether her and Lala are in a fight. And she was like, well, I sent her my book as a PR thing, and then I didn't see her post it. So then I followed up with her. And then she said that she doesn't check the PR boxes, that her brother does. So then I guess her brother did. And then she posted just a picture of the book with like at Sheena. So yeah, we're still friends, right? So there was that. And I was sort of hoping it would lie there. But then she started making like some other little comments about like Katie, for example. So she did talk in her book about Katie Maloney when it comes to Mexico, and how, like, we saw on screen in season 10 that she didn't want Katie to go to Mexico for her wedding, right? So she was trying to get Katie not to go, trying to like, finagle something so that Katie couldn't be there because she thought that Katie was going to be a mean girl and ruin the situation. And in her book, she says that it was an especially like shitty thing for Katie to do because earlier when they went to like Havasu for the girls' trip, Katie had disinvited her or not have invited her, and Katie had known allegedly that Sheena was on a day rate or whatever it's called, that she was demoted, so it meant that she wouldn't be paid. So she felt like, Katie could have at least have done that for her, knowing that she wasn't going to get paid when, Katie ended up going on her Mexico vacation and got paid. She also made some comments in her book about making out with Dana at some point, Dana Kathan, who does Disrespectfully podcast with Katie Maloney and also was in season 8 of Vanderpump Rules. Some comment about like after her finding out that Brock cheated on her, she made out with Dana at Coachella or something like that, and Dana could feel her sadness. Sorry, I'm just giving all the context here to get to like current day. And then Sheena was on Casual Chaos, which is Gia Giudice's podcast, and said something about Katie being forgettable. And what was the other comment? Like basically being upset that a lot of people didn't follow up with giving her a book, or sorry, not giving her a book, follow up with the book, where she had like sent them the book and they didn't follow up in terms of like posting it online. And that's what made me realize where Sheena's is really petty. She's really petty. I'm sorry. Like when you look at this in totality, it looks ridiculous because it doesn't mean that people don't support you. It just means that they didn't have the time to post an Instagram story, which I understand seems small. And maybe in Sheena's mind, it's the most important thing. But Lala, who I hate to give any credit to, she had said it perfectly in season 10 of Vanderpump Rules. And it was in Mexico when she was deciding whether or not to go to certain ones of Sheena's wedding events. She was saying, this wedding is the most important thing to you. It is not the most important thing to everyone else. And that's what's happening here. Sheena, your book is the most important thing to you. It is not the most important thing to everyone else. So while everyone else has kids and friends and other things to do, they may have forgotten to post about your book. It's not in the forefront of their mind, but it doesn't mean they're not your friend. I think she's just taking that very personally. But again, I think that's who Sheena is. That's what she needs in a friend. She needs like that very like physical attention in the sense that it needs to be very public. It needs to be a public display of attention as opposed to affection. You know what I mean? So a couple people have responded to these things, namely Lala Kent and Katie Maloney. I'm going to go with Katie's first. Now, I do want to preface this with, Katie didn't have to respond. I feel like Katie is sort of this type of person not to respond, especially at this point in her life where, she's so moved on and so far removed from Vanderpump Rules and all that stuff. But I feel like, with Scheana constantly having Katie's name in her mouth, which is such a, I feel like a Gen Z way of talking. Sorry, you guys, my 41-year-old age. I feel like she feels like she just has to respond when Sheena's constantly talking about her. So you'll definitely hear the anger in her voice here, but I feel like it's totally warranted. So I'm going to play a clip of Katie explaining herself and why she went to Mexico and how she sort of feels about Scheana making these comments. So I'm going to play that right now.
I went to Mexico, and it wasn't because I wouldn't get paid or I'd miss out. Like, Mexico was going to be in that episode. Like, I was paid per episode, so I was getting that episode no matter what. Scheana, for months, was panicking because Bravo told her they were not going to film her wedding. They did not want to film her wedding. But everyone was going, and I know production was freaking out because like half the majority of the cast was going to be there. And like, what were they going to do? Were they going to have to ask some people to stay back? Who knows? But when Scheana and I ended up having all that drama, we were driving back from Havasu, and one of the producers was like, "So here's the thing, you have to go." He's like, "I have needed like to like work with Bravo about like not losing the cast." He's like, "But I sold them on filming Sheena's wedding because I've sold it as there's going to be 2 trips happening. Like you're going to go on a trip still. I got to bring Christina Kelly with me, and then we're going to film the wedding. So it's going to be these 2 trips happening at the same time." That was how they were able to like get Bravo to agree to go to Mexico. So I was like, all right. I was like, well, someone gonna tell her this because like I feel like if I'm just really pushing to go, that it's just gonna be weird. I don't want to go. I would rather stay home and pick my fucking nose. I was about to go see what just go watch my ex and Raquel make out. Like, please, and just be around a bunch of people I can't stand. Like, why? I was gonna say that kind of surprises me that she would say that in the book because she knows why you were there. But this doesn't. No, so I never. This is. I never told her. I wouldn't want to be like, well, guess what? The only reason why there are cameras here is because I'm here. Because like, so that makes me sound like a fucking asshole. But like, literally, Lala was in the car with me when they told me this. If she wants to corroborate, but yeah, that was like how they got the camera. So, and you know what? Here's the thing. I am good at my job. I don't speak about this shit. I don't spoil behind the scenes stuff. I don't make producers like hard. That's why I've never been demoted, unlike Scheana. So like I'm better at my job anymore. But like I didn't want to be an asshole. I believe it or not, and I feel like an asshole now talking about it, but like if you must know, you must know. And if she wants to keep going on podcasts and like being like bitchy about it and pretend like I'm forgettable. She was talking about me on another podcast. I'm forgettable. Go on, girl. I don't care. She asked me she was talking how she wasn't going to send me her book. I don't want your book. You asked me for my address last year to send me some bullshit in the mail. I don't want you to know where I live. How about that? Katie said.
Wow. So yeah, Katie has spoken definitely. And you can see that she's pissed. And I totally think it's warranted because, like I said, Scheana keeps talking about her when, Katie has just moved on with her life and has moved on from all of this stuff. And it's so interesting how much weight Scheana was placing on the money thing, which I understand. But what I never really got clarification on, I guess, is why she got demoted as opposed to other people. And we know that Kristen did too in season 7, but Katie saying like, I've never been demoted. I've never been like a problem, unlike you. It's making me question now why she was demoted. And initially I thought, oh, because they could push her around and it's easy and it's a way for them to save money or something. Like, I don't know. I just assumed that's just what they did to, I don't know, to some people. But now I'm wondering if it was some form of punishment in a way. And if so, if Katie is, sort of speaking facts here when she's saying, like, hey, I never caused any sort of issue and that's what's going on. And like, now I'm telling you what was actually going on behind the scenes and like, relax about it. Right? Like, it wasn't that deep. Production told me to come. Like, I wasn't trying to make sure you didn't have money or did have money or this and that. I wasn't trying to be cruel. I was just doing my job. And on the Dana of it all, I didn't record this part of the clip, but Dana was like, when I read her book about the part where she's like, oh, when I made out with her, I could tell that she was sad. Dana's like, yeah, no, not really. I mean, she seemed fine. She seemed all good. So it's really interesting what goes on in Sheena's head that is a different reality from other people's. Okay, I'm just also gonna play you what Lala had to say as well because she did an Amazon Live and people asked her if she's, beefing with Sheena or if anything's going on between her and Sheena. So I'm gonna play you guys that clip as well.
Today, did she come to Sosa's birthday? I'm going to talk about how I feel about Sheena. I don't know where her head is at. Sheena is my friend. I love her. I love her family. She is like family to me. I am proud of her. I will say that over and over again because that's what I mean and that's where my heart is. I don't know what she's out saying. I've heard things that she's talked about on her podcast. Did I listen? No, I didn't listen. Was I sent little freaking headlines? Yes. Do I care? Not really, because that's the whole point of a headline is to get people to click. So I'm sure there was no ill intent behind what she said on her podcast. I love Sheesh, plain and simple. She was not at Sosa's birthday party. One of the reasons being it was one of her family members' baby showers in Vegas. That's one of the reasons. She was invited. She was planning on coming. But I did see her, I want to say last weekend in Palm Springs. I went over to her house. She saw Sosa. We hung out. I saw Summer Moon. She was swimming. Like, for me, it was good. So when I say Sheena's, that just means that, like, wherever her head is where her head is. I love the girl. It is what it is. I don't know. I'm just in here trying to mind my own. I just want to mind my own.
It's what I try to.
It's what I try to do. And sometimes it's very hard because I can't shut my mouth at times. I could have easily avoided that question. And did I? No. Because why would I want to make my life easy?
Okay, anyway. Okay, I have a hot take. And I know no one is going to like this hot take, but I have a hot take. Has Lala Kent matured? Like, hear me out for a second. I thought that was such a mature take for Lala to be like, listen, I'm just out here living my life. Sheena is sort of spinning out. It's like she understands that her friend, as we just explained, needs all that kind of attention. Sometimes she's not able to give it because, she's living her life. So she knows that Sheena is sort of just needing to, get it out of her system, get the steam out of her system. She'll come back. It's all good. But she knows that Sheena and her are like family. They're always going to be good. And Sheena's just having a moment. She's just Sheenaing. And the way she said it, her demeanor, it just seemed very like, I'm above this, but not in the old Lala way. Which is so funny because that's actually one of her old quotes. It's like, it's not that I'm above this. I just know when you're below me or something like that. I'm above you and you're below me, something like that. But that's not what I mean. I mean, it just seems like she's grown out of needing other kinds of things, even though she just said she could have skipped that question. It just felt very mature to me, right? So listen, I'm not saying that she should be on the Valley. That is not what I'm saying at all. But my hot take is just that I feel like Lala Kent has matured and I'm a little bit impressed. Okay? People can change. People can change. You never know. Okay, in terms of the Valley filming, we've seen a little bit more of it. They've been having like a lot of costume parties. There was like a Y2K themed party. It looks like everyone was there aside from Janet and Jason. So pretty much everyone else who's on the cast, plus like Benji and I don't know. I also see like Jeremy Maddox posting photos. I'm not seeing him like in things, but I'm seeing him like, posting on his story of like those events. I'm like, damn it, he's there. And then Nia and Danny seem to have had like a housewarming party. So I guess it was in like Santa Clarita for their new house. And it's cowboy themed. So it seemed like most of the cast was there too. And a lot of people have been questioning like if Janet and Jason are filming at all. And so I DM Janet and I'm just like, hey, are you guys just like filming in your house? Just curious. Like I don't know. Just because I didn't hear that they weren't filming this season, but they also didn't like officially announce that there is a season three. Am I wrong? Has there even been like an official announcement anyway? So regardless, I was just like, hey, are you filming in your house? Or like what's happening? And she's like, haha, what? No, I guess I just haven't been good about like posting what we're doing. I'm like, oh, okay, because like the other side is. So then she posted doing Pilates with Michelle and Lala. And I have to tell you, Lala haters, Lala has been in like every single filmed event for season three so far this season. I swear. Every picture of every event that has been posted, and there have been many, Lala Kent has been there. And, you know, we thought that we were probably going to get Lala part time, probably going to get Scheana part time. And now it seems like we have Lala full time and Scheana not at all. Now, as Lala said in that, quote or, recording, Sheena's in Vegas and she is. So I think maybe we're 2 weeks into filming season three of The Valley. Who knows if she's going to film at all? But it's interesting that that was the choice that was made. If it's a choice, who even knows? I mean, people are even speculating that production is mad at Scheana for some of the things that she said about them in her book. But I don't really know. I just think it's odd. You would think that Scheana would be like right there all the time trying to get her like day rate, right? Okay, let's move on to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And so we're going to talk about our updates with Denise and her ex-husband Aaron and their divorce. So there's this article that came out from People last week that says Denise Richards granted access to the family home as ex-Aaron Phypers is ordered to stay 100 yards away from divorce. You're away from divorce. Okay, it's weird. What does that mean? How do you stay away from a divorce? I think it means like her person. Anyways, Denise Richards made her first appearance in court amid her tumultuous divorce from Aaron Phypers. On Monday, September 8th, Richards' restraining order request hearing was postponed to next month, according to court documents obtained by People. In the meantime, a judge gave access to one of the couple's residences to Richards on September 13th to retrieve her mother's and her own personal property, including the dogs, while Phypers was ordered to stay 100 yards away from the home as stated in the temporary restraining order, which Richards was granted in July. The filing also states that Phypers is to take no action which would interfere with Miss Richards' access. Per the filing, Phypers is allowed to retrieve his personal property from their townhouse and office on September 15th, and Richards is to ensure that the spaces are accessible at the time. Phypers is also ordered to give Richards back her laptop and old cell phone, which she alleged her ex stole from her after violating the restraining order by end of day on September 9th. He had previously denied being in possession of these items. Okay, so I know why she's so interested in that because apparently, so still allegedly she was cheating on him with like one of those special instructors from like special forces. And it's like allegedly the messages, the texts, the communication between the two of them are on her cell phone and computer. And so she does not want him to have access to those things, obviously. The delay in the hearing comes after Phypers initially requested it be pushed back, but attorneys for Richards claimed any further continuance will prejudice Denise and cause further distress to Denise by not allowing her finality to her request for domestic violence restraining order, according to a court filing. A source close to Phypers tells People that Phypers' lawyer, Michael Finley, signed on to represent him at 9 p.m. the day prior of the hearing. Jeez, man, this is very like Jesse Lally not getting a lawyer. It's like, I'll represent myself. Okay. The source added Richards could not identify distinctly to the judge what models or specifics of electronic devices she accused Phypers of taking. Phypers told the judge he never took anything and will file a statement on Tuesday, September 9th. The source continues that Phypers had filed a 200-page response to all of Denise's allegations that included all of the exhibits necessary to debunk every claim. Issues like the setup soundbite on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is fake and will be debunked, along with Denise's penchant for bruising, for an ongoing obsession of facial needling, scraping, acid peeling, lasering, and more. Okay, wait. So it sounds like he's saying that one of the sound bites that I guess that we've been playing as content creators and podcasters is fake. I guess the one where he says, like, if you keep talking, I'll like punch you or something like that. That's okay. And I guess he's saying that, and again, allegedly, and I guess he's also allegedly saying that when she came forward with bruising, what she's alleging came from Aaron, that it's from facial needling and acid peeling and scrape. Okay, guess we'll see. Then it says the update comes more than 2 months after Phypers filed for divorce from the actress on July 7th. He listed their date of separation as July 4th and cited irreconcilable differences as the reason for the split. Since the filing, the pair have made a myriad of allegations against each other. On July 19th, Phypers claimed in an interview with TMZ that Richards cheated on him with another man at the beginning of the year. He said that he had found out about the alleged infidelity through text messages on Richard's laptop. So that's what I was mentioning earlier. So that's the update there. I'm sure we'll have another one next week. Okay, so now let's move into Southern Charms. So this article came out with Deadline that said that Craig Conover is starting a production company. And before I even looked at it, I was like, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. So I remember that around the time that I guess the whole like Craig and Paige breakup was really like popular. Like, it was all we could talk about online. I guess it was like end of January, early February. Craig was at like one of these home shows, like for Sewing Down South. And he had told someone that he was supposed to move to New York and work in production. And he did go on Watch What Happens Live at some point around that time and talked to Andy. And Andy did even concur, like, yeah, I knew. And you and I had talked about you moving to New York. And so this whole production thing was like in my head. So I guess he's starting this production company. And I guess he always was, but maybe not in New York anymore. So this is the article from Deadline. It's Craig Conover, one of the Bravo Southern Charm stars, is getting into the TV production business. Conover has launched Plaid Horse Productions with plans to launch his own slate of reality series. He has teamed with Media Trifecta, a company founded by co-CEO Sharon Ostrovsky, who has worked on the series such as Cash Cab and Ghost Hunters on the Grand River. Chief Creative Officer Kevin Healy, who previously worked for Kevin Hart's Heartbeat and Propagate Content, and has exec produced series including NBC's Betty Whiteoff's Their Rockers, and development consultant Matt Hanna, who has exec produced series including HBO's Max's Stylish with Jenna Lyons. The company is gearing up to take out a slate of ensemble-driven reality cast shows and is working on relationship experiments, socially driven formats, and competition series. Lawyer Conover has been on Southern Charm, which is set in Charleston, South Carolina for 10 seasons and has appeared on spin-offs including Summer House and Winter House. He is also a guest judge on the new season of Top Chef, which is set in the Carolinas. I did see a picture with that. Conover said, after spending over a decade in front of the camera, it feels awesome to be stepping behind the scenes and getting involved from day one, helping shape the vision, build out the programming, and connect with the right people. Being part of something from the ground up like this is really exciting, and honestly, I couldn't ask for a better team to bring Plaid Horse Productions to life. I'm having trouble saying that, but also my mouth is really dry today, as I said. It goes on to say, Craig has proven himself to be a true creative force. He knows what makes stories connect, what makes talent undeniable, and how to deliver ideas that feel fresh, surprising, and built for today's demanding audiences. The response from our early conversations with buyers has already confirmed that his instincts are spot on, and we can't wait to bring this slate to the market, added Ostrovsky. So I guess that's cool. I mean, he's involved in like a couple of restaurants with Austin, and then he has, I think, one in New York. He's got all the Sewing Down Souths. He's got Southern Charm. I mean, why not expand his empire? And I was a little bit confused about when Paige would talk about him not having any money. And not like I know, like, listen, I really don't know, but it just seems like he has a lot of businesses. Or does he just have like little stakes in those businesses? Is it like Tom Schwartz and Tom Sandoval who only have like 5% stake in TomTom? Like, I don't really know what goes on the back end, but if he's interested in doing something behind the scenes, that's cool. Go off, Craig. All the power to you. So We know that The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is premiering back this week. I think on Tuesday. I hope it's Tuesday. I hope it's early. But we got some sad news about Mary Cosby's son. So I'm going to read this article from TMZ. Like we saw at the last season that he was really struggling with addiction. So maybe I'll issue a trigger warning here because he was arrested. So I'm going to read this article. This is from September the 11th, so a few days ago. It says Mary Cosby's son, Robert Jr., has found himself in hot water with the law again. We've learned that he's been arrested for a number of alleged crimes, including assault and trespassing. According to an arrest report obtained by TMZ, the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star's only child was arrested just outside Salt Lake City, Utah, Saturday for failure to stop at the command of law enforcement, criminal trespassing, assault, and 3 alleged violations of a court order. Per the report, local police responded to a domestic violence call after Robert Jr. allegedly tried to break into his father-in-law's home via a dog door and assaulted someone on the front lawn. Robert Jr. allegedly failed to get on the ground when ordered to do so by the responding police officer before eventually complying and being taken into custody. This is Robert Jr.'s latest set of legal troubles. He was previously arrested in 2022 for a DUI where cops say he didn't have a license and disobeyed traffic laws. He ended up pleading guilty to the DUI, resulting in the other charges being dropped. However, the saga didn't stop there, with Robert Jr. finding himself back in court after he allegedly failed to prove he completed a court-ordered rehab stay. Though Mary previously said on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion that Robert Jr. did attend a rehabilitation program and was doing good. Remember, Mary opened up about her son's struggles on the Bravo series, having a viral heart-to-heart with her son in season 5, where she begged her son to be honest with her about his issues. However, during Wednesday's appearance on SiriusXM's Reality Checked radio show, she hinted that Robert Jr. was struggling with substance issues again, noting her husband, Robert Sr., was devastated by their son's battle. She added, "I can only push him, encourage him, and love him. And that's what I'm doing." That's kind of where we are. But he's still on that road, and it's a hardcore road. I mean, that's so sad. It just is, right? Like, we've seen Mary just like love her son so much, but she's right. Like, there's only so much you can do for someone else. You can support them, you can be there for them, you can literally drive them to rehab. But like, if they're not willing to change and they're not willing to be better, what else can you do? So I guess I don't know. Maybe he'll find what he needs eventually, right? And some people it just takes, a few rounds of trying to get better until you finally do. And hopefully he decides he wants to get better soon. And, I'm sure Mary will be right there with him when he does. Okay, we can move on to the Real Housewives of New Jersey, and it's pretty brief. We know that Teresa and Gia have been doing some press because they're on special forces together. I think I'm going to watch this season. I think it's going to be pretty good. Brittany Cartwright's on it, so it might be kind of fun. So Gia and Teresa were on Jeff Lewis's SiriusXM show, and so Jeff asks Teresa because we heard that we heard that like other people were doing like test shooting. Now, I don't know what that means, and I think the majority of us don't know what that means. So I think it can be a bit confusing. I guess I could have looked it up. I didn't look it up, you guys. But I think for the rest of us, we thought that it meant like, Bravo just does these sort of like testings every once in a while to see what people are up to, what's going on in their lives. It could be old cast, new cast, and it's just part of the process. But I think that we were under the impression that it was something that every cast member goes through, no matter how like senior you are as a Bravo cast member. So we did hear that Teresa was not doing these test filming. So Jeff is asking her about it on his radio show. So he said, "Does that mean we could see you appear on season 15 of The Real Housewives of New Jersey? I hear they're doing some test shooting." And Teresa says, "Well, I mean, does a professor ever take the test?" So she's implying like she's too good to even need the testing. And Jeff's like, "No, okay, so right, you're a proven talent, but do you think that there's a possibility that you could be a part of that?" And Teresa's like, "Hello, you're friends with Andy Cohen, ask him." And it's just sort of annoying because like you're being interviewed for press, answer the question, right? Like do a little, I don't know. It's kind of annoying how she always sort of goes around it. I am curious though, because I did tell you guys that Michelle Barone, who was on my podcast previously, who filmed on Below Deck, that she did some test like shooting, and like she is really close friends with Teresa. So if she is a possibility, then it would only make sense that Teresa would be on the show as well, because she would be like Teresa's friend. So I guess we'll see, but I think we'll definitely be finding out at BravoCon. Oh, and guys, I'm going to BravoCon. Okay. So like, I don't know. I feel like maybe we should institute something before I go, like questions that I have to get answered, or people that I have to get a picture with or talk to. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay. Let's quickly move on to RHONY casting. This was from, I think, Bravo and Cocktails. I think she came out with like a list of potential people who are going to be on the dreaded next season of RHONY. And it's just like, stop it here. But I guess this is what we're hearing. So we're hearing returning cast members are Sai, Aaron, Jessel, and Jenna. Jenna's a maybe. And then newbies would be Nicole Daisy Toy, who is Martha Stewart's makeup artist, June Ambrose, who is a celebrity stylist, Erica Faye Jones, who's a real estate developer, Chanel Jones, who's from the Today Show, and Sarah Wettenhall, who is the owner of the Colony Palm Beach and Hedges East Hampton. I don't know who any of these people are. A couple of my followers DM'd me about Chanel Jones and said that like her husband died, or they got divorced, or like something major happened in her family. Sorry, again, I should have looked it up. So they were like, oh, she would never be ready for something like this. She's just gone through so much tragedy recently. So I don't know. I don't know where these choices even came from. I mean, Lindsay Hubbard isn't even on that. So who really knows, right? Okay, and then our last topic of today is teen moms. So, we've seen our Janelle Evans all the way from 16, all the way to now, just fucking up her life, left, right, and center. And we've just been like hoping she would finally get it together, right? So this story today is the first time I've seen Janelle grow up a little bit. I'm sort of proud of her. So apparently, Lil Wayne asked Janelle Evans to go to LA to like hook up with him. Now, she thought it was going to be something else, or she wanted it to be something else, but she did actually go. So he like flew her out to LA, which, all right, I guess go girl. But I'm going to play you a clip of what she said in terms of like the experience, okay? Oh, and this is a guy, like a content creator, interspersed talking about it.
And blew me out. And I met him.
She actually showed proof of the DMs that Lil Wayne sent her.
Right? Be mine. I said, say no more, King. When? And then he said, what's your number? And then we started texting.
As for whether they hooked up, Janelle said that he wanted to, and she actually turned him down and went home.
Did I hook up with him? No. Did he want to? Yes. I just said I wanted to go out to dinner and get to know each other first. And, he just wanted to jump into it, I guess you can say.
Good for her. I don't know. I'm just proud of her for being like, no, I want a deeper romantic connection first. You can't just like fly me out here and expect sex. You got to wine me, dine me. You got to get to know about me, ask about all of my kids, ask about, all of my police reports, ask myself a little bit, right? I really love that. Respect yourself, Janelle. Absolutely respect it for you. All right, guys, that is the end of the episode today. I hope that you enjoyed it. You will see me back later this week for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Join on the Patreon at any time, patreon.com/the Bravo Investigator Podcast. Like I said, follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and now Threads at the Bravo Investigator. I love you, BBs. I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Bravo Investigator Podcast in partnership with Hurrdat Media. You can watch full-length videos on Hurrdat Entertainment's YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at the Bravo Investigator. If you enjoy the show, please leave me a 5-star review. Love you, BBs. See you next time.
A Hurrdat Media Production.